Welcome here to another edition of the Leviim Gallery interviews. Tonight we have a very interesting guest who I met through a friend of mine, Zalman. And we have Hershey Gurfinkel, and he's going to tell us a little about his background, his story. He's got a great story.
I was made actually in Odessa, born in Brooklyn. And at the time my mom left Odessa because back in '79 because you know the situations over there with the Jews, the Russian. She didn't want me going to the Russian army, so she decided to fly to America. Great choice. She landed in July. And then I was born July 29, 1979, 5th of Av, the Arizal, right?
She flew herself?
Yeah, she came by herself. I never met my real father. And
You never?
I never met him.
Never met, okay.
So, he was Jewish, by the way. And, you know, what can I tell you? My mom met my father who raised me after 6 months when I was born. Changed my name. I was born Henry Hershey Gurfinkel. Because I got adopted, didn't know, you know, get my name turned into Henry Gurfinkel. And then, you know.
You were adopted by a different parent?
By my father.
By your father?
Yeah, my mom remarried and, you know, he took me in, he took care of me. Thank God. And from him came my little brother, middle size and older son, so I got 2 brothers. Thank God for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we moved the first time, since I can remember, we lived in Coney Island, 33rd Street, Sea Rise Projects. We moved over there. Russians and black people lived together all the time. I guess we were like strong enough to live with them. And I can remember back when, first time when we were getting robbed. We went outside, we were walking our family friends home. There were 6 of us. It was my cousin on his roller skates, you know, those ones that you used to clip onto your feet. I was on a tricycle, my parents and his parents. And 2 guys come from across the street. This was during the crack epidemic, pointed a gun in my head and told my parents to run. True religion, our heritage from great kings we live in. We the chosen, Torahs he's composing. 6:13 for us, 7 for them. Still this stuff. And, you know, so on and so on. Life goes on. Then growing up in public school, you know, got picked on a lot. You know, being a white boy, being a gingy, being in a school that's outnumbered by color. You know, people always wanted a test, and growing up with these tests, I kept continuing the test, and I fell in love with the street life. I fell in love because I came from nothing, and it was rough in my house. I didn't grow up in a very pleasant environment, and I became the product of my environment. Following that, everybody wanted to make money, and in our dreams, everybody wanted to be Scarface. Because we know we didn't have, and our family didn't have the means to put us to what we need. Age 12 was my first arrest. Violent assault. I beat up somebody and I get arrested in school and keep getting tested and keep getting tested. It's fine.
What was the arrest for? What'd you do?
I had an assault arrest. I guess somebody in my neighborhood claimed that I was very violent when I was 12, but it didn't make sense. But that didn't last long, but it's fine. You know, we were hungry. People wanted to make money, and we didn't know. We didn't have a rabbi coming to our neighborhood giving out. We didn't have the time in our neighborhood. One time the boys came around behind. I don't think they ever came back. That was a lesson, and I kind of hated my own religion after that. I didn't know what it was to be Jewish. And we always wanted to cling to something. So growing up in my neighborhood, there were gangs. People wanted us to get in, and I always felt I couldn't join a gang. The gang wasn't for me because I didn't want to fight for somebody else. But, you know, after a while, like, I kept falling into my own things. All I kept thinking about was the mundane stuff in this world. Like, you want to have and you want to have, and we just started hustling to have. I started hustling, I did so many things.
Like what?
I sold drugs for my couple of felonies. I sold drugs, I used to rob people, I extorted people. It wasn't really robbing, it was like, if you got in my way, I took from you. It was just an excuse to get at you, so I did certain things. It made no difference. It's like everything I did was just a hustle, that's all it was at that time. Like, I mean, I had a heart, I took care of my family, I took care of my mother, I took care of my brother. We grew up in, you know, my father wasn't a healthy person because of alcohol. That was an issue. It's not healthy. You know,
Did he have a
fight.
job?
What?
Did your dad have a job?
Yeah, he had a job. He was working, man. Very, very working. Woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, came home at 6 o'clock. No matter, I don't know how he did it. No matter how much he drank, he still got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to handle it. So, I mean, I grew up in a violent house. My parents were all the time like kids. All the time there was always problems. But, you know, we loved each other. We really did, you know. And growing up in the house, not having much, wanted you to make much. So it took all means. It didn't make a difference what it was that we did. And I got used to it. I got used to the action. I got used to the lifestyle. I enjoyed it. And then one point, you know, I was 18, I caught my first felony.
We keep thought, speech, and action all for him. Better the Kelly port, the body's a teleport. Soul from the divine, breathed in every time. Wake up in the morning, roll the dawning. Thank my Lord and wash my hands. Then we go put it on leather band.
I did 5 years probation, thank God for that. And while I was on probation, I got into more trouble, more crime. Violated, did another bid, did a program, did a couple of programs. And then came, you know, it slowed down a little bit. I started working legally.
In your prime, how much money did you make a week selling drugs?
I was making $1,400 a day.
$1,400 a day.
Yeah, $1,400 a day.
How many years ago? 20 years ago?
No, that was back in when I was in 2012.
Oh, recently?
Yeah, 2012 was when I started actually selling hardcore drugs. I was on hardcore drugs and I sold it, and I did a lot. I didn't care. There was a point where I was just cold because I didn't see there was a future other than what I was doing, and I was going to die doing what I was doing. And I loved it. I loved it because I didn't know that there was anything else. I didn't know what I knew today. I had no clue. In 2012, on Mother's Day, I took 2 bullets. I got shot in the arm and I got shot in the mouth. You can see my smile right here. Got kissed by God. But after that fact, that didn't stop me. I got arrested that same day that I got shot, got thrown in Rikers Island.
Who shot you and why?
I got shot in my drug house where I was selling drugs out of, and it was 2 guys that I was dealing with before, you know, and they felt the need that they could rob me. I didn't allow that to happen. I took 2 bullets, shot back, and here I am today. So it was Mother's Day. I called my mother 10 o'clock. 2 hours later, I was shot. 5 o'clock in the morning, my brother was in the hospital checking me out. And then 7 o'clock, I was already in Brooklyn House getting booked. And then I was sent to Rikers Island. Did a week in Rikers Island. My lawyer got me out, you know, no bail. I got arrested for a gun that was in my house. It was a non-violent. Came out into the streets, and I started chasing everybody that shot me. I was looking when I was hunting, and I was still hunting, and I didn't learn my lesson yet. Now I got 2 open cases, a felony for selling drugs, and a felony for having a gun in my house the day I got shot. DA called me, said that they caught the guy. I said, let him go. And they gave me a year. While I did a year in jail, I had fun. It felt like summer camp. I played cards. I sold drugs. I did what I wanted in there. It was like, you know. And there came a time where I got into a fight in there. I was in the 6th building. Oh boy. And in the same building they have the box, the Bing. And I went from serving foods to being in the box because I got into a fight because of my hustle.
Now, serving food's considered a privilege, correct, Arthur?
What, serving food to people?
Yeah.
It's considered, well, it's work, you know, like, you're in Greens, that's what you're doing, right, because I had fun in there. And while I was in the box, they gave me 7 days intensive care unit in the box where there's like no shower, no nothing, you're not even allowed to have books in there. I did the 7 days in there, and then they moved me out to a regular box after they figured out that it was just a shadow. And while I was sitting in the box, all I had was Tehillim. And I just started reading Tehillim, and I'm reading the Psalms of David, and I'm just like, wow. And I just started falling into tears reading the Psalms of David. I did 30 days, 23-hour lockdown.
The box to the heart, the crown to the head. Shema Israel, the animal is dead. Shemona Esrei, then Tachna. Beat it up, rough what? Asher Yoshe V'Secha. Happy all the time. Getting all the blessings, yeah. The way we start the day, wake up in the sun, pray, Allah base space, Gimel Dalet, hey, put your hands in the sky and do it Hashem's way.
And 1 hour they let you out to go into a nice little dog cage for your fresh air. So I didn't decide just to stay in. And the only time I came out is when they let me go to the shower. So they, walked me to the shower. I walked out of the box, and then a month later I'm already out of jail. And then I have a decision to make, whether I go back to Brooklyn and do the same thing I did before. And a certain person that I was with at that time already had everything placed for me, and she was ready to put my work back into my hands, my phone connected. But then I was just like, while I was in jail and I was in the box, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is so easy. Like, everything I'd done in my lifetime was easy. Selling drugs was easy, hustling was easy, running the streets was easy, taking beatings. I started enjoying everything. I got addicted to everything. And then I started thinking to myself, I'm still alive because all my friends are dead. Everybody that I know, anybody that I grew up with, maybe it's like 4 left I can say hello to still. And I started realizing, like, these people didn't even do a corner of what I did in my life. And the fact that they're not here. These are my friends that passed away from doing nothing compared to what I did. They started dying from overdosing. They started dying just doing stupid stuff. And I did it all. I shot dope, I smoked crack at one point, I sold it, I ran around the streets with a gun. My brother locked me up in a mental ward in Coney Island hospital for 30 days because he knew I was in danger of my life. When the psych ward doctor asked me, what are you doing? You're trying to commit suicide? I said, no, I'm homicidal. I'm looking for the people that shot me. He says, you know what you have in your system? I said, yes, I'm very aware and I like it. I got no future. But while I was in the box, I just started saying how easy life is and how I can do this. It scared me. It scared me. So I went to Florida. My mom was out there. Thank God for her blessings that she was out there, worried sick. While I was locked up, she started looking into programs. Mandy Katz, it's Olive, the Olive Institute. So the Olive Institute. So I had actually, my Tehillim was the one that didn't get out of jail. It's from the Olive Institute. So I just got out there, I'm thinking, what am I going to do for work? What am I going to do? I mean, I had skills, so I went back into business, and then I started doing satellite. But before I even had the opportunity for a job, the first thing I did was run back into the streets and started looking for where am I going to set up shop again, and started getting involved in the same thing that I used to do, pimp, but like that, all that stuff just went through my head, and I'm just like, I could get out here and start rocking out here because it's so easy. But then, like, I started thinking again, no, this is not good. So I got a job, and then the job didn't work out because whatever happened. And I went to Bell Harbor to go visit Mendy because my mom was worried about what am I going to do. So I went over there, I spoke with him, and he said, what did you get locked up for? I told him. He said, I could get you some work out here. I told him, great. And then I told him I want to volunteer. I want to do whatever I can do for the program. I want to do whatever I can do for Jewish people. Because I remember when I was in the box, I started writing all my goals. And after I met him and I started handing out these flyers, it led me to my synagogue in Hollandale, my mashpia, Rabbi Morty Feiner. When I saw his face, I saw goodness. Where I come from, not a lot of people are good. Like, you can't even trust your loved ones sometimes. It's crazy. Like, your best friend will stab me in the back. But when I saw his angelic face and he wrapped me up and I started coming in there and I started learning every day. Since then, like, 4 years I started, like, I was with that shul and they sent me out here to Hadar Torah. But as I was learning with my Rav, with Rabbi Tannenhaus, Rafi, and my mashpia, I started getting guidance from him. I became a part of a community that I never had before. I never seen it. And when I saw Shabbos in my mashpia's house for the first time, I said, I want my life to be this way. I want children. I want kids. I want a future. And I never seen that before. And then I just started learning about myself. And when my tshuva really hit me the strongest, I think it was about 3 years ago, I was reading the Rebbe Psicha. I forgot the name of the book we were reading. But it's the book where it starts about the Baal Tshuva, where how Rosh Hashanah, how Baal Tshuva starts to behave, and how he goes into Yom Kippur, and from Yom Kippur you move into Sukkot, and like the love after like the healing and all the guilt. But just started learning about myself when I realized that I'm nothing and I'm a nobody. I got crushed that week. Like my ego just got ripped apart, and I understood I'm nothing without God. And then I started thinking back in my life, and I'm like, I always cling to the wrong things because we want things, but we don't. If you don't have the right guidance and somebody doesn't point you into the direction, we fall to the wrong things because we always want to be a part of something. But when you learn that you can be a part with God, you can be together with Him, your life just changes, your strength just changes. Once you start feeding into more goodness, it's like a domino effect. It just keeps coming, and the same thing is with bad. And when I started learning Tanya and reading all the Rebbe's Chassidus and Tanya, like Tanya's like amazing. You start learning about your souls, the emotional attributes, the middos, the sepharas. It's like the connection, and then realizing that you need purpose in this life, that you have a purpose. And I started realizing that when one friend after another, while I was in Florida, like people would call me, your friend just got buried. Another friend just got buried. Another friend just got buried. And it's just like, things that like people are just dropping. And I'm just like, there's purpose. There's purpose why I'm still here. There's purpose why I took a bullet in the mouth and I didn't die. There's purpose why I could put a bundle in my arm of heroin and I didn't die. There was purpose for everything. And then going through my changes, even while in Florida, I fell off out there. Like going through Chihuahua, like I'm dating a shiksa and I'm pushing my rabbi every day to shul on, you know, Shabbos morning, but Shabbos night I'm like hanging out, and then like I started crying. I started saying, what am I doing? I'm not doing right. Like I can't be in between. This isn't my life no more. One day I put on tzitzis and started growing the beard. And I started begging my rabbi, how do I become frum? How do I become frum? And I started wearing tzitzis and I stopped eating not kosher. I started eating everything kosher because I know they're walking around with tzitzis, like these things. That's why I like them thick and long. To keep me from tripping, to stop myself and to remind myself that we are Jews and that we have to do for Him.
What in your life do you think the inspiration that people, not necessarily come from the same colorful background that you grew up with, could learn from you?
What you can learn from me, take me for example. Take me for everything that I went through. I tortured myself. I put myself through a lot. We all have options, we all have decisions, we all have choices. God gives us a path. And obviously He led me through my path because there was a need for it. Because I know with my path, with my experience, and if you think that it's not real, come and ask me, come and talk to me, come see me, look up my record, see what I went through, live through what I lived through, go through what I go through, and then come to this. The reality is God is out there and He will pull you into the direction that He needs you in. And if He doesn't, and if you don't follow His direction, you're going to end up in the ground like everybody else, because dust is nothing. So the only thing you're supposed to do in this world is pick yourself up and be a light. Be a light to everybody.